Hey guys, Cruxel, here's a no bullshit guide to the new version of Dust2, which has just been released and is in the beta depot for CSGO right now. If you're watching this past beta, some things might have been changed, so just note that. First things first, if you want to back up into this corner when you're in T-spawn, aim with a little notch on the wall there up to the roof as if they were to meet in the sky, and a little bit above the roof. And if you have a jump throw bind on 64 tick, this will smoke Xbox perfectly. I'm sure we'll find more efficient smokes and flashes, but these are just the initial ones I found for you guys in this first night of testing. It just lands on the stairs and bounces up, and you'll be able to push cat without being worried about getting opped unless you have the shittiest luck of all time. For you pussy bitches that don't have a jump bind, just stand on this dark stain on the floor, aim up to this lower dark point in the corner of the wall I'm going to show with the op scope here, and run forward until you're about to hit the wall and release. It's going to bounce. This will take a bit of practice, but once you get it down, it's a very safe way to smoke Xbox 100% of the time. And once again, you can cross safely up to A site where you'll get dinked immediately and lose a round. This wall going into A long is very high, and if you're like me, you're going to fuck it up every time. So make sure you toss the flash before you cross this building right here and aim a lot higher than you think you should. It's going to pop over really nicely and get them without much warning to where they can't turn away. Here's the enemy POV, as well as when they're scoped in, even single scope, they're not going to see it coming, and they're going to be fully white like a country music festival. Here's a super simple way for you dumbasses to smoke long corner. Just get in this corner of the box, in between the sky, in between the metal and the castle here, over to the right a tiny bit, and a little bit less than halfway up. Just toss the smoke. You're going to get it super loosey-goosey. It's going to smoke the corner. Not as deep as I would like, but hey, you can't always get what you want, right? This way, the oppers will have to push out of smoke and be very uncomfortable for an easy frag, and you can push out the long very easily. If they're smart, they're going to fall back, but they might try to peek for one single frag, which can be easily traded. If you have a gun with a long barrel and for some reason facing towards the door, it will not go through like the older maps, but make sure you try to avoid this in general as it's a bad habit to do, but at least this way you'll be covered. Just a heads up, when turning this corner, make sure you're aiming high because it's going to be a very safe spot for those chodes that are hiding away from bomb site. It's very easy to self-boost as well and cover yourself from right here. Hey, so this is possible, not that it really has any use, but it's still funny to get the reactions from it. In case you didn't notice, there's new terrorist player models. There might be new CTs updated later on, but not right now. And if you want to smoke this corner very tightly and then boost over the smoke, it's a very good way instead of jumping into pit. If you're getting out-opped every time, they're going to see your head slightly, but you'll get the jump on them for sure. Make sure if you're on the bottom to aim to the right near car so that you can watch for any peeks. These doors can still be spammed with assault rifles and ops and scouts, so make sure you're abusing that still. And you can't see under blue anymore, nor can you wallbang it because it's too thick, just like me. So make sure you're wary of that for saves. This spot is Chode City. Nice. This one way still does sort of exist on A, but the box is so fucking thin that they're going to see your player model out of the side, so it doesn't really work. Plus, I would not recommend playing here, as it's very hard to get back to cover and people are going to spot you right away. In terms of car, people can spam crouch right here, and it's very annoying because you can't see through the windows. Hopefully that does get changed later on. Here's my POV from doing it. It's very easy to spam, so make sure you're checking for that when you're taking long, as that's kind of the new Kerrigan. What you can do though is still wallbang through it with op, and I'm assuming scout and rifles as well. While walking towards the corner, if you aim slightly over the trunk with a Molotov, it'll bounce back and hit the right side of the corner here so you can molly off anyone hiding like a little fucking bitch. Also, if you aim a little bit higher, it'll get the back side of the car, also for anyone hiding like a little fucking bitch. There's a surprising amount of them playing the game nowadays. Also, this works really well for nades. There's no better way to say I'm a queef than play this corner, so make sure you stop doing it because they can see you before you see them, just like the old map, and it's just a dumbass spot to play. Like I said before, unless you're a master opper and ready to get traded after your first frag, really do not play this box unless it's absolutely necessary for a post plant. This one-way smoke works as well on top of the rice boxes here. You can see them, but they can't see you. On to the rest of the A site, stepping up my editing game here. We're going to go over the barrels right here, which now contain rice, and they can't be wallbanged. Through this cloth, you can't wallbang either, but this will probably be patched soon. So if you're watching this in the future, it probably has been eradicated by then because there's no way that this shouldn't be wallbangable. Right now, it's really only spammable with ops and scouts, I'm assuming. If you jump on top of this box and crouch, while crouched, you can still see their head a little bit, but the animation might fuck you over. Just a nice peek to do instead of walking all the way up. AKs can't go through the main box as well as M4s, but through the corner, you're good and you'll do some damage. If you need further proof that I'm a god tier YouTuber, I'm the first to find a barrel smoke on this map. Hop in the corner of this tire, crouch down, get to the left side of the @ sign up there, up to the building, line them up in the sky, and go a little bit higher than the building corner, and just throw. This needs a bit of practice, but you'll get it onto the barrel perfectly after a few tries. And as always, you can see their feet. Great one-way smoke here that I'm very happy to have found. Here's the enemy POV. They're not going to see you unless they crouch, and by the time they do that, they're going to be dead. Jumping on this box is an aggressive angle with the op is still very viable, but if they pick a close angle, it's going to be very hard to see. Whereas if they walk against the back, it should be pretty easy to get the frag if you have your flicks on point. Here's another really smooth pop flash. Just run forward and throw. Make sure you don't aim too high at the crack in the middle of the thing, or else you're going to get it bouncing back to you. It's a weird bug on the texture right there. As well as make sure you don't lean to the left or right. It's going to pop flash without any warning for the CTs watching sight, and they're going to get blinded fully. And as you can see here, they're bouncing in odd ways when you don't do it straight on, so just make sure you do it on point. This is great for pushes when you follow through with it, and you can get some really easy kills as they're totally blind on sight. Up on elevator here, there is a staircase in the back, so if people aren't walking, you can tell how far back against the wall they are. When you hear cement, that means they're pushing back, trying to get a peek onto sight and see your head. Shout out to Goose. Thankfully, Valve removed this bitch-ass spot to the left, but they didn't get the one in the very back for ninjas, and you can see their body unless they're turned a certain way, so make sure you're checking for that or else you're gonna get fucked from behind, which is never fun without lube. Make sure that you check for ninja as well, as it is still a very viable position. Unless you strafe outwards, which is very bad to do, you're gonna hit your head every time you try to jump down to CT like this. So if you want to get it really smooth, make sure you crouch as you go over the gap. You don't even have to jump, and you take less fall damage as well. And you can do this smoothly, and once you learn it, if you can do it through a smoke, it's the most ninja way to get down to CT. You make very little noise except for the drop, and unless they're peeking super wide on cat, they're not gonna see you. If you're trying to smoke off cat from A site, just go to the left of these exposed bricks right here and run forward towards the box. You're going to get it and smoke off all of A. They can't really peek over it either, which is nice in this new version. And with long cross smokes, you're always going to have a gap. This is the best way I've found so far. Go to the corner of these last two dark bricks in long. You're going to line up a doorway basically and go up to the left side of the tooth, up to the middle of the sky between the light post and the shop awning, and walk forward and throw. Like I said, you got to choose which side you want. This is going to leave a sizable gap to the right, and you're going to have to jump it or flash through. If you do flash, just make sure that you turn away as you're crossing. The other way I found to smoke is go into the corner of this barrel here, line up with the corner of the roof and the middle of the spotlight, and run forward until you hit the middle of the spotlight and release. It'll bounce off the wall with a tooth and again leave a sizable gap to the right, but this way you have an easier smoke to do. If you're in pit, line up with this dark stain up to the medical marijuana sign and do a jump throw if you have a jump bind. This can make a nice wall of smokes because it covers the right side and you guys are fully safe from cat. In order to do sizable damage onto sight from nades, you have to clear Goose and then get this wider angle above the red sign and throw your molly. It'll get the sight, or else if you go narrow, it'll get the left side, which isn't really useful because you're going to see them anyways if you peek. This does work with smokes though. That's a very good smoke spot that'll get off the rest of sight, and you really only have to worry about long corner and ramp. Here's a more passive pop flash if you're lurking in the back. To get it next to this box, up away from the corner of the wall and just tap forward as you throw. It'll get right up into the corner and they'll have very little time to react. Here's the enemy POV. They'll get milked like a porn star. The standing boost over the wall in the mid is still kind of viable, but they have to be in the very back, and even then you can only see their heads, so you better be a good shot, and you're kind of out in the open. The rock up top kind of blocks it. Valve really fucked me over with this uneven dirt here. It's impossible to get a clean mid to B smoke that I've found. I tried a bunch, and this is the closest I got. So to remedy against that, you do have to jump over to the other side of Xbox, which leaves you vulnerable, and you have to commit to the strat here. Like get in the corner, aim at the bottom of this dark stain, and toss, and it's pretty deep and can get you into mid up to B very easily. And once again, don't be a fucking idiot. Run to the right side of mid when you're going out to B, or else the oppers will pick you off from A. It's a very easy frag. It's 2017. We gotta stop doing that shit. This smoke location is useful if you guys want to fall back from A to commit back to mid to B. You can just drop down and do the same smoke. When you get into this nook here, you can be seen from the scaffolding, and it's a very hard angle to peek once the hitbox is kind of fucked up. So make sure you're cautious of that and quick in case anyone ever peeks it. You can still jump on this little crack in the boxes to get a peek into mid, or jump over into B to hide or save, or watch for rotators. But you must know that your head gets stuck here, so it's very slow to move off of it in case you do get peeked. When it comes to this other box in CT, you can get on this little crack, but you can't get much farther than that. You would have to double boost to get on top of it, and you can't self boost from what I can see. Also, you can do a boost on a teammate here to get into mid and see window and door very easily. Moving on now to B site, which I really don't like how close they made the tunnels. I think it's going to make rushing a lot more of a bitch. And they didn't ever open up the skybox, which I really dislike. Again, I hope they change that after this beta run. This boost still works both ways and is very OP right now because you have the rock basically protecting your face in case people whiff their shots. You can no longer bank off this sand right here in order to get the flash. Instead, aim higher than you think above the window as you approach these stacks of cement, and you'll flash right over into the site, effectively turning everyone inside B into Ray Charles. This bitch spot still exists, but you can see their barrel now if they don't turn away, so make sure you're checking for that. Also, if you are a chode and play this spot, kind of turn into the wall as they're approaching, and then turn away once they have passed in order to get your frags. Assuming doors is being watched, get into this corner of B ramp and aim up into the corner of the building there. Align with the window here as if they were to meet in the sky and throw. You'll be able to smoke off the back plat and drop down from window a little bit safer. Assuming back plat is being watched and isn't taken, get on this scaffolding into the bottom left corner of this rock and you'll smoke off tons. Very quick smoke to be retaking sight. And if you want a Molotov, make sure you're crouching so they don't dink your head off. Line up with this pixelated line in the wall, thank God for Valve and their shitty graphics, and aim in the sky in between these two stones up to the top of the pyramid of that one, and you'll smoke off car very easily. This is the sketchiest fucking crane I've ever seen. When you're opping, make sure to peek from the left side like I've said before in order to get information and fall back, and then you can peek up top in order to get your peeks a little bit randomized. You can't watch from the right side of this anymore, as well as the fact that you can't wallbang through it, so make sure you're hiding behind here like a little bitch once you whiff your shot. All four sides of this wall are spammable still. And the jump up from tons onto these boxes is made a lot easier in this new map. Also, the car is very loud now when you step on it. This platform is not yet able to be played on, but it might be updated. Once again, guys, this was all from the beta, so if anything changes, you can expect updates down the road. I apologize for the video length as well. I know that's very suspect being at just over 10 minutes, but I wanted to fill it up with information that you guys could use for this new map. It just so happened to be this long. I promise that was not on purpose. Hope you enjoyed, and also don't go up the staircase or else you'll trip balls. Thanks for watching.
I slide by, coming at you in high five. What up? Trying to see if you pussies got 9 lives. Pull up. Every time I don't feast, I find die. Turn your corpse to bread, turn your blood